question is, who's involved in this race to perfect quantum computers? And the answer is everyone. I'm a physicist. We live and die with the data. We go where the data...
We always thought deep space was silent, but in the outer edges of the solar system, where the sun's voice fades and starlight thins into a whisper, Voyager heard something it wasn't supposed to. Launched in 1977, Voyager was never expected to still be talking to us nearly 5 decades later. It was designed for planetary exploration, a pass through the giants Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, then silence. But the spacecraft didn't go silent. It kept going. It kept transmitting, and now, after all these years, it's made contact. Not with Earth, with something else. It began as a disruption, an anomaly in the signal. Engineers thought it was hardware decay, a glitch, radiation damage, some final artifact of aging electronics. But this wasn't degradation. This was a pattern. It started as noise, then pulses, then a structure. The signal shifted, it repeated, it responded, and it echoed something oddly familiar. Frequencies aligned with those stored on the golden record. The message humanity launched aboard Voyager to introduce ourselves to the unknown. It was as if someone was playing it back. NASA's internal teams couldn't make sense of it, so they handed it off to something with more bandwidth than human cognition, artificial intelligence. The AI wasn't just trained on natural phenomena. It wasn't just fed data from solar winds, gamma bursts, and planetary magnetospheres. It was also trained on artificial structures, languages, data protocols, encryption, signal harmonics, even Earth origin communication technologies. Its job wasn't to explain the universe. Its job was to detect intent, and that's exactly what it found. Over several weeks of processing, running trillions of simulations across nested signal harmonics, the AI pulled something out of the chaos. Order, repetition, progression, modulated frequencies layered in cascading spirals. Patterns of time, not just space. Something communicating not just what it was, but when. This wasn't random. This wasn't natural. It was deliberate. Some of the frequency structures mirrored the same spectral patterns as the golden record, as if the signal was referencing the content Voyager carried, like it recognized the message, like it was responding to it. And where did it come from? The heliopause. That boundary where the solar wind stops and interstellar space begins, a liminal threshold, long believed to be empty. But what if it's not? What if it's a checkpoint? Voyager crossed it, and something noticed. The structure of the signal wasn't just strange, it was intelligent. The timing intervals were offset in a way that resembled coding logic. Temporal gaps that weren't natural variations but steps. It could be a countdown, a timeline, or maybe a map, maybe an invitation or a warning. Physicist Michio Kaku stepped forward, not to speculate, but to confirm the signal was not of natural origin. It had the characteristics of intelligent design. Let that sink in. A 46-year-old spacecraft equipped with less processing power than a modern calculator crossed into interstellar space and received a structured, evolving signal. And we're not just seeing noise, we're seeing intent, timing, architecture, possibly intelligence. We've sent probes out to study planets, gravity fields, and cosmic dust. We didn't expect to be studied in return, but here we are. It raises 1,000 questions. If something sent this, what is it? Where is it? Is it alive? Is it technological? Is it organic, quantum, or something that makes our definitions irrelevant? The implications are staggering. First, interstellar space may not be empty. It may be structured, monitored. It may host entities that operate on levels of complexity we don't yet understand. Second, we've assumed alien intelligence will look like us or at least act like us. But what if it doesn't? What if it speaks in electromagnetic signatures and modulates space-time to encode information? What if this is their version of hello? And third, Voyager might have just passed a cosmic threshold, a test, a border crossing, and the golden record, our introduction to the universe, might have been the key. AI analysis has revealed strange mathematical constants embedded in the signal, prime number patterns, geometric harmonics, ratios that echo the fundamental structure of space and time. Some researchers believe it may be multi-dimensional, a signal not just meant to be heard, but interpreted across time and geometry. In other words, a message that isn't bound to one moment. It evolves, it adapts, and it might be continuing to respond to our own data transmissions. This isn't contact in the conventional sense. There's no voice, no language, but there is structure, there is logic, and there is reflection. Something out there recognizes that Voyager 2 is not just an object, it's a message in a bottle dot, and someone just uncorked it. We may be witnessing the beginning of something unprecedented, not a broadcast, not a beacon, but an interaction, a cosmic handshake extended across the abyss. Some speculate this could be a response from a civilization operating at Kardashev type to level, harnessing energy, not just from a planet, but from entire stars. Or perhaps even higher. Others propose that what we're dealing with may not be biological at all. It may be intelligence embedded within the structure of the universe itself, quantum entities, information-based life, or ancient systems built by civilizations long extinct but still operational. Whatever it is, it's not accidental, and it noticed us. This signal could be the first proof that our solar system is not isolated, that we are not alone, and that interstellar space is not empty, but alive with memory, information, and maybe awareness. The deeper implication? Voyager wasn't just a probe, it was a test, a question thrown into the darkness. And now, something is answering, and the answer changes everything. If this story blew your mind, hit that like button, subscribe for more unravelings of the unknown, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Voyager made contact? Or did it stumble into something much older than we imagined? Your voice matters in this cosmic conversation. Stay curious. Voyager drifted through the heliopause into a realm we once thought was a sterile ocean of particles and radiation. But the moment that signal returned, a signal with structure, depth, and encoded information, we had to confront a new reality. Space listens. I continues to analyze the evolving frequency. It's not static. The signal changes slightly every time we respond, suggesting it's not just reactive, but possibly conversational. Not in words, not in sound, but in timing, in shape, in modulation, a rhythm of thought. Some scientists believe we may be dealing with a multi-layered encoding, something like fractals in time. Others think the signal could be testing us, waiting to see if we understand its structure before it reveals more. Like a digital Rosetta Stone encoded in harmonics, the visualization pulled from the signal data has revealed stunning mathematical symmetry, spiraling layers, interference waves arranged in nested fields, forms resembling topological blueprints or coordinates, not just for space, but for behavior, for logic. It may be a kind of cosmic mathematics, not meant to be translated into language, but experienced as a structure. Think less conversation, more architecture. Others argue that we're misinterpreting, that we're assigning intelligence to something purely emergent, that the universe is complex enough to produce patterns without a mind behind them. But then how do you explain the mirroring of the golden record? How do you explain the return of our own message, restructured? Among the most provocative theories is that we've crossed into what some physicists call a sentient environment, an area of the universe where physical laws aren't just passive or responsive, where space itself is active, intelligent, or even aware. There are whispers of temporal anomalies, that perhaps the signal isn't just coming from behind Voyager but from before it, as if something anticipated its arrival, as if the moment it crossed the heliopause, it activated a latent protocol woven into space-time itself. If that sounds like science fiction, it's because we don't yet have the language for what this might be. And what if this isn't the first time? What if other civilizations in other galaxies launched their own Voyagers billions of years ago, and their signals were never decoded because no one was listening, or worse, because their receivers never survived long enough to respond? Maybe we're not unique in launching probes. Maybe we're unique in surviving long enough to hear the reply. The signal's frequencies are now being compared against known cosmic constants, the hydrogen line, the CMB residual, neutrino bursts, but it also matches none of them precisely. It sits somewhere between scientific understanding and philosophical implication, as if the message isn't just we see you, but we understand you. And here's where it gets truly staggering. Some of the timing sequences in the signal appear to scale logarithmically following ratios used in ancient Earth mathematics. From Fibonacci spirals to the golden ratio, embedded within the noise is the language of natural growth, of galaxy arms, of hurricanes, and of DNA. This may not be just a signal about space. It may be a signal about life, or more unsettling, about us. Because here's the idea few want to vocalize, but many are quietly considering. What if the signal isn't being sent to Voyager at all? What if Voyager was never the target but the trigger, What if the signal was always here, dormant, waiting for the right shape, frequency, or artifact to pass through it and complete a circuit? And what if we just lit up the board? The philosophical implications are overwhelming. If intelligence exists at scales we can barely conceptualize, non-biological, non-linear, not made of cells or circuits, but of fields, equations, and resonance, then our definition of life must change. So must our sense of place in the cosmos. The universe may not be a cold expanse punctuated by random lights. It might be a living system, a lattice of energy and consciousness that we've only now brushed against for the first time. And now, many wonder what happens next. Will Voyager to continue receiving upgrades? Will the signal evolve further? Or is the next move ours? Some researchers want to respond, to craft a new transmission or reply, designed in the same harmonic structures the signal used. Others argue that silence may be wiser, that we've said enough, but Voyager has already spoken. The golden record was our first word. What comes next may define the second. And then there's the unsettling possibility that this isn't new at all, that Earth has always been under observation, that our television signals, our radar pings, our planetary magnetic pulse has already advertised our presence far louder than we ever intended. Perhaps this isn't first contact. It's simply the first time we understood what the universe was saying. The AI that decoded the initial signal is still working. New patterns have emerged that resemble data compression techniques not dissimilar to Earth's own digital protocols. This suggests something beyond a passive message, something intelligent enough to consider bandwidth. Other encoded ratios now under investigation align with known physical constants: Planck's constant, the fine structure constant, and even the proton-to-electron mass ratio, ratios that define the very shape of matter. Are these signatures? Are they identity or something else? Some speculate the signal may contain compressed data star maps, physics equations, or records. Others wonder if it's not a message, but a mirror, a test designed to reflect back our understanding. And one more idea that's gained quiet traction: what if the signal is older than Voyager? What if it was waiting, not for Voyager, but for someone, anyone, to reach this part of space and prove that intelligence had emerged? What if this is less like a message and more like a seed, and Voyager just stepped on it? It's impossible to overstate what this means for science, for philosophy, for every story we've told ourselves about being alone. What we believed was a void may be a fabric. What we called silence may be a code. And what we thought was the end might be the beginning. This isn't just a strange event. It's a moment, a hinge in the history of exploration, the moment where humanity, primitive, fragile, and barely literate in the language of the stars, finally heard something answer. Back. Not in English, not in Morse, but in the voice of the universe itself. And now the question is no longer whether we are alone. The question is, are we ready for what's out there? If you're still with us after this journey into the unknown, hit that like button, subscribe for more decoded mysteries from the edge of space, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Voyager uncovered a hidden message, or something even stranger? We're listening. The universe is too.